The cold metal floor shook under Elira's feet as two alien guards dragged her down the long tunnel. Their claws were tight around her arms, and their armor made sharp scraping sounds that echoed endlessly around her. She tried to pull away, but she was too weak. Her wrists were locked in heavy chains, and her legs felt numb from fear. She did not know where they were taking her, but she knew it was a place where no one returned. The tunnel opened into a giant arena, so large that her eyes needed a moment to adjust. Thousands of Solarian aliens sat in high, curved seats, watching her with cold faces. The sky above the arena was covered by an energy shield that shined like a prison wall. Bright lights shone down on her, making her feel small, exposed, and trapped. The crowd was silent at first, as if studying her. Then the silence broke into laughter. "Look at the hybrid," one alien shouted. "She does not even look strong enough to stand," another mocked. "She is only half human. Weak and useless." Elira tried not to listen, but every word sank deep into her heart. She felt like the whole galaxy wanted her gone. Humans called her strange, Solarians called her unclean, and she had never truly belonged to either world. Her breath shook as she looked around the arena, searching for a way out, but there was none. At the highest seat sat the Solarian Emperor. His skin was silver blue, his eyes sharp like blades. He lifted a hand and the entire crowd fell quiet. His voice echoed through the arena. "This girl is a mistake," he said. "A child born from two worlds that should never mix. Today we remove this mistake." Elira's chest tightened. She wanted to scream that she had never asked to be born this way, that she only wanted a normal life, but the words stayed trapped in her throat. The guards shoved her forward. She stumbled and fell into the center of the arena, dust rising around her. She pushed herself up slowly. Her breath trembled as she looked at the massive gate on the opposite side. It was sealed by heavy locks and glowing red symbols. The energy around it hummed like something alive. A low vibration rose from inside the gate. The ground under her feet began to shake. The crowd leaned forward, waiting. Elira's heart pounded so hard she felt it in her ears. She had heard rumors about this creature. Every Solarian child grew up hearing stories of the Empire's deadliest weapon, the Void-Scale Dragon. She had never believed it was real. Now she desperately wished it was only a story. The locks on the gate unlatched one by one. A deep growl rolled out, shaking dust from the walls. The light dimmed as something massive moved behind the gate. Elira took a step back without meaning to. The air grew colder. The gate exploded open. A giant creature stepped out, its scales black as space and glowing with faint star-like patterns. Its wings were broad and silent, like shadows made solid. Its eyes were not red or wild as Elira expected. They were a strange silver white, watching everything with ancient intelligence. Every step it took made the ground tremble. The crowd cheered wildly. Elira stood frozen. Her whole body felt too light, as if fear had taken her strength away. Her chains rattled softly in her hands. She could not look away from the huge creature that now studied her. The Emperor raised his hand again. "Begin." The dragon lowered its head. Elira felt its breath rush over her, warm and powerful. She took another step back, but there was nowhere else to go. Her mind raced. She tried to think of something to do, anything at all, but her thoughts slipped away like smoke. The dragon leaned closer. She could see her reflection in its eyes, small, scared, and shaking. The creature's nostrils flared as it smelled her. Elira squeezed her eyes shut. She waited for teeth, claws, a roar, anything that would end her quickly. The crowd grew silent, waiting for the strike. But nothing happened. Elira opened her eyes slowly. The dragon had stopped only a few inches from her face. Its eyes glowed brighter as if searching for something. She felt a strange warmth in her chest, a soft pulse she had never felt before. She lifted her hand without thinking. It trembled in the air, inches from the dragon's nose. She knew it was foolish. She knew the creature could kill her in one quick movement. But something inside her whispered, "Touch it." The dragon exhaled, and the air around her warmed. Elira gently pressed her palm against its nose. The crowd gasped so loudly it sounded like a storm. The dragon's body relaxed as if it had been holding back something. Its eyes closed for a moment, and a deep, soft rumble came from its chest. Not anger, but something closer to a purr. The silver white in its eyes brightened like two small moons. Elira felt a strange connection, a memory not her own. She saw flashes of a man holding a glowing egg, speaking softly to it. His voice was warm. She could not hear the words, but the feeling was clear. Protection. Kindness. Hope. The dragon lifted its head slightly, lowering it again, not in attack but in respect. Elira stepped back in shock. She could not understand what she had seen. How did this dragon know her? Why did it not attack? The Emperor stood from his seat, his expression turning hard. "This is impossible," he said. "Dragons bow to no one." The guards rushed closer with weapons in hand. Elira backed away from them in fear. The dragon suddenly snapped its wings open, creating a strong wave of air. The guards stumbled backward, shocked. The dragon lowered its head to shield Elira with its massive body. The arena filled with confusion. The crowd shouted, but no one dared move closer. Elira pressed her hand against the dragon's warm scales. For the first time in her life, something, stood for her. Something ancient. Something powerful. Something that should have destroyed her, yet chose to protect her. She did not know why. But she knew one thing very clearly. Her life was not over. It was only just beginning. The arena was filled with confusion. The Solarian crowd had come to see a half-human girl destroyed by their strongest beast. But instead, the deadliest dragon of their empire bowed its head beside her like an old friend. Elira felt the creature's warm breath moving across her arm. It was strange, gentle, almost protective. She did not understand it, but she did not pull away. Above them, the Emperor stared down with cold disbelief. His eyes narrowed as if trying to find an answer hidden somewhere in Elira's face. Around him, the High Council members whispered in fear. They had ruled their empire for hundreds of years, and not once had a void-scale dragon obeyed anyone. Elira stood still, trying to calm her shaking body. The dragon slowly lifted its head and looked at her again. Its eyes glowed with a bright silver-white light, and she felt something shift inside her mind. It was like a soft voice trying to speak but without words. Memories she did not know she had started to flicker inside her head, quick images that vanished before she could understand them. The guards recovered and rushed toward Elira again. Their weapons hummed with energy. But before they could get close, the dragon lowered its wing in front of her like a giant shield. The ground shook when its wing touched the arena floor. The guards froze, unsure what to do. "No one commands that creature," one whispered. "Then why does it protect her?" another asked. Elira didn't know the answer. She looked up at the large dragon wing covering her like a roof. She felt strangely safe, as if the dragon knew her in a way she didn't even know herself. The Emperor lifted a hand and the guard stepped back again. His voice was calm, but everyone could hear the anger hiding under it. "Why does the beast act like this?" he demanded. "What are you, hybrid girl?" Elira swallowed hard and took a slow breath. I do not know," she said softly, her voice shaking. "I don't understand this." The dragon lowered its wing gently, giving her space to step out. Elira hesitated, but the creature's eyes were warm and steady, telling her it was safe. She took a step forward. The crowd watched in complete silence. Then something strange happened. A bright light appeared on the dragon's forehead, right between its eyes. The glow spread across its scales, forming patterns that looked like constellations. The light reached its chest, then its tail, and then it pulsed outward. Elira felt a soft wave of warmth wash over her body. She gasped as another memory flashed in her mind. A small room. Warm light. A human man kneeling beside an egg with glowing lines across its shell. The egg humming softly. The man smiling and saying words she could not hear. Elira staggered and almost fell. The dragon moved closer as if worried. The Emperor saw her reaction. "She is influencing the beast," he said. "Or the beast is influencing her." The council members shook their heads. "Dragons cannot be controlled," one said. "Unless," another whispered. "Unless it recognizes her." Elira looked up at the Emperor. "I don't know why it's doing this," she said. "I swear I don't." The dragon suddenly pressed its head against the ground and pushed something forward. A small fragment of metal slid toward Elira. She picked it up with trembling hands. It was shaped like a broken piece of an old medallion, warm to the touch. When she held it, another memory rushed into her mind. This time it was clearer. Her human father stood beside a strange glowing egg. He placed the same metal piece against it. The egg glowed brighter. The dragon inside the egg pulsed in answer. Her father whispered something, his voice soft, filled with hope. Then the memory faded. Elira gasped, tears forming in her eyes. She had forgotten almost everything about her father. She only remembered being taken from him when she was very young. But this memory, this one felt real. It felt right. The dragon had shown it to her, and she understood something important. This creature knew her father. And if it knew her father, it knew her. The Emperor leaned back in his seat, thinking. "This makes no sense," he muttered. Her father was human. Humans have no link to dragons. They are too young, too weak, too simple. Elira closed her hand around the metal piece. He saved something, she whispered. He saved someone. Maybe. The dragon stepped closer and lowered its head again. Elira touched its scales gently, and another soft memory shimmered through her mind. Her father sitting beside her tiny form, telling her she was special, that she would bridge two worlds one day. Bridge two worlds? Elira felt her heartbeat speed up. Was this what he meant? Before she could ask anything more, the Emperor stood and pointed toward her. Take her, he ordered. Capture the beast if possible. If not, kill it. The guards rushed forward again. Elira backed away, but there was no fear this time, only rising panic that something bad would happen to the creature protecting her. The dragon opened its mouth and released a deep roar that shook the entire arena. Even the Emperor stopped moving. A wave of wind burst from the dragon's wings, pushing the guards back. Some were thrown to the ground. The dragon moved in front of Elira again, protecting her with its massive body. It would not allow anyone near her. The Emperor clenched his fists. This is unacceptable. She is not special. She is nothing. A low growl echoed from the dragon's throat, deep and cold. Elira stepped beside the creature. Her legs trembled, but she forced herself to stand tall. I don't know why it protects me, she said softly, her voice shaking but firm. But it does. And I won't let you hurt it. Her words surprised even her. She had spent her whole life being quiet, small, forgotten. But now, standing beside a creature older and stronger than the entire Solarian army, she felt something new, courage. The Emperor narrowed his eyes. You will not leave this arena, he said. But the dragon had already moved. It spread its wings, covering Elira once more. Light grew under its scales. The patterns of stars glowed brighter. The ground shook like something powerful was waking inside it. Elira felt that warmth again flowing through her body, connecting her to the dragon like a shared heartbeat. Memories of her father flashed again. His smile, his hands on the glowing egg, his voice saying she was not alone. The dragon stepped forward. The arena stones cracked under its weight. The guards backed away. And Elira realized something simple but life-changing. The dragon did not just recognize her. It had been waiting for her. Its protector. Its friend. Its bond. Dust fell from the arena walls as the void-scale dragon stepped forward, its wings spreading wider and wider. The Solarian crowd, once loud and confident, now watched with fear growing in their eyes. Elira stood close to the dragon, feeling its warmth through the shimmering scales. She did not know how she understood its emotions so clearly, but she knew one thing. It was preparing to escape with her. The Emperor shouted orders, his voice sharp and angry. Guards rushed down from every direction, energy weapons in their hands. Elira felt her heart race faster. She had never used a weapon, never fought, never even imagined facing an entire empire. But she was not alone. The dragon looked down at her, and for a moment, its glowing silver-white eyes softened. Elira felt a strange calm wash over her. She placed her hand gently on its scales, and a warm pulse ran through her arm, like the dragon was reassuring her. The first line of guards charged. The dragon lifted its wings and slammed them downward with a powerful beat. A violent shock of wind blasted across the arena, throwing alien soldiers off their feet. Weapons flew from their hands and rolled across the floor. Elira stumbled but quickly held onto the dragon's warm scales to steady herself. Stop them, the Emperor roared, rising from his high seat. A group of armored soldiers on the upper platform aimed energy cannons toward the dragon. Elira gasped. The dragon sensed the danger instantly. It moved its body to shield her, covering her with its wings like a living fortress. The cannons fired bright beams of energy, striking the dragon's scales, but the beams simply scattered into harmless sparks. The crowd panicked. Dragons were feared because nothing could wound them, not even their own empire's strongest weapons. Elira looked up at the creature. We have to get out, she whispered. As if answering her, the dragon let out a roar so powerful the arena floor cracked. Stones shifted and dust exploded upward. Elira shielded her eyes. The dragon bent its legs ready to launch itself. The Emperor shouted again. Seal the sky barrier. Seal it now. A loud alarm rang across the arena. Elira looked up. The energy shield above the sky began to thicken, glowing brighter. If it fully formed, they would be trapped inside. The dragon saw it too. It pushed its massive body lower, then leapt upward with incredible speed. Elira screamed as the ground fell away beneath her. She grabbed hold of the dragon's rough scales, holding on with all her strength. Wind rushed past her face, cold and sharp. The dragon shot toward the sky barrier. The shield shimmered like a giant dome of blue light. Alira's heart pounded so hard she felt dizzy. Could the dragon break through it? Behind them, Solarian ships launched from the arena walls, engines glowing bright. Soldiers in flight armor chased them, shouting orders. Alira held tighter as the dragon spread its wings wide and angled toward the barrier. The glowing dome flickered, almost solid now. "Please," Alira whispered. "Please make it." The dragon roared, and its scales lit up like stars. Light ran across its wings, gathering at the tips. The glowing patterns on its body pulsed faster and brighter. Energy built around them, humming through the air. They hit the barrier. A blinding flash filled the sky. Alira shut her eyes and held her breath. She expected pain, fire, something, but another warm pulse rushed through her body instead. The barrier cracked like glass. The dragon pushed harder. The barrier shattered, pieces of blue energy falling like broken shards of light. The crowd gasped below. The dragon soared into open sky, leaving the arena far beneath them. Alira breathed out shakily, relief filling her chest. But the danger was not over. Solarian warships followed them, engines screaming. The sky filled with bright trails of energy fire. Alira ducked down, clinging to the dragon's neck as beams shot past them. The dragon banked sharply, diving between clouds to avoid being hit. A ship came from the left, firing again. The dragon twisted its body midair, moving with surprising grace for its size. Alira felt her stomach turn as they rolled through the air. More fire chased them. "We have to find somewhere safe," she shouted, though she wasn't sure the dragon could hear her words. But the dragon seemed to know exactly where it was going. It flew toward the distant mountains beyond the city, moving faster than she ever thought possible. The warships struggled to keep up, their metal bodies too slow for the dragon's ancient power. The wind grew colder as they rose higher. Clouds swirled around them. For a moment, Alira thought they had escaped, but then she heard the rumble of engines again. More ships appeared above them, blocking the way. The dragon slowed, its wings beating harder. Alira looked behind them. More ships. To the sides, more ships. They were surrounded. Alira's heart dropped. No, not again. A massive Solarian cruiser positioned itself in front of them, its cannons locked onto the dragon. A voice echoed from the ship's speakers. "Surrender the hybrid and the dragon will be spared." Alira shook her head. She knew it was a lie. They would kill the dragon the moment they got close. The dragon seemed to know this too. It looked down, then suddenly folded its wings and dropped into a steep dive. Alira screamed as the world turned into a blur of wind and spinning clouds. Warships fired wildly, missing as the dragon fell too fast to target. The mountains rushed toward them. "Are we crashing?" Alira cried. But at the last moment, the dragon opened its wings wide, catching the air and softening the fall. They skimmed the mountain peaks before diving into a narrow valley filled with sharp rocks and twisting paths. The warships tried to follow but struggled in the tight space. The dragon glided low, weaving through stone pillars and cliffs, its movements fast and precise. Alira held on, her heart racing but full of awe. She had never imagined anything this huge could move with such speed. Finally, after a long and dangerous flight, the dragon slowed. It landed near a large, old structure built into the side of a mountain. Its doors were rusted, its walls covered in dust and vines. Alira climbed off the dragon slowly, her legs shaking. She looked up at the structure. "What is this place?" she whispered. The dragon nudged her gently toward the door. Alira swallowed and pushed it open. Inside, dim lights flickered on, revealing a forgotten research station full of old screens, dusty chairs and broken equipment. Then she saw something that made her breath stop. A recording device sat in the center of the room, glowing softly. A small note beside it read, "For Alira." Her father's handwriting. Her heart pounded as she reached for it, knowing this place held the truth she had been searching for, and maybe the reason the dragon had risked everything to bring her here. A cold warning shot cut through the night sky, and Talon dragged Mila behind a broken pillar as plasma dust rained down around them. The hunters were closing in fast. Mila could hear the heavy mechanical steps of the council drones and the low growls of the hybrid enforcers. The ruins shook every few seconds as search beams swept over shattered stone. She felt her heart slam in her chest, but she did not stop. She couldn't. Not now. Talon, the strange dragon hybrid who had saved her, pulled her close. His dark scales glowed faintly as if sensing danger. He looked more like a living storm than a creature of flesh. Yet he spoke softly. "They will not take you," he said. Not while I can still stand. Mila wanted to believe him, but the enemy numbers were growing. She had seen them marching through the valley, hundreds of soldiers, drones, and beasts built for war. The council was treating her like a threat, like something dangerous, even though she had no idea why. They heard the sounds again: crackling armor, metal claws scraping stone, energy rifles charging. The enemy was close. Talon slowly rose, his wings opening just enough to shield her. Sparks moved across his scales, and Mila realized something was changing in him. He was becoming stronger, brighter. A blast hit the ground near them, throwing sand over their heads. Mila grabbed Talon's arm. "You can't fight all of them," she whispered. "I know," he answered. "But I can make them afraid." He stepped out into the open, and the soldiers froze at the sight of him. Talon's eyes burned like twin suns. His voice echoed through the ruins, deeper than any human or dragon. "She is under my protection." A commander barked an order, and the first wave attacked. Energy bolts shot toward him from every direction. Talon moved like lightning. His wings slammed down, sending out a shock that cracked the ground. Soldiers flew backward. Drones dropped from the sky. His claws glowed as he cut through the machines, tearing them apart like thin paper. Mila watched with a mix of fear and awe. She had never seen anything like him. He fought like someone who had nothing left to lose. But the second wave came, bigger and stronger. Huge armored beasts charged forward, carrying heavy cannons on their backs. Drones circled above, dropping bombs. The sky lit up with explosions. Talon roared, but this time the sound was not full of rage. It was full of pain. Mila stepped out from cover. She didn't know what she was doing. She only knew she could not watch him fall. The ground pulsed beneath her feet, and the strange warmth she felt before returned, bright, wild, alive. She reached for Talon, and her touch burned like a rising sun. Energy burst from her hand, forming a shield around them. Beams hit the barrier and scattered like harmless sparks. Talon turned in shock. "Mila, what are you?" "I don't know," she said. "But I won't run. Not anymore." The shield expanded, pushing the enemies back. Cracks formed in the earth, and the ruins shook as if the world itself was reacting to her voice. Soldiers stumbled as the light grew stronger. Talon used the opening. He leaped forward, wings slicing through the smoke, and slammed into the lead beast. The creature toppled, crushing 2 soldiers beneath it. Lightning raced across its armor and shattered the cannons. The battlefield turned into chaos. Mila pushed her energy outward again. The shield grew into a wave that slammed into the approaching drones, dropping them from the sky one by one. Her vision blurred, but she kept going. She couldn't stop. Talon was fighting for her. She had to fight for him too. The council commander finally shouted a retreat order. The soldiers pulled back, dragging their injured away, leaving broken machines scattered around the ruins. The glow around Mila dimmed, and her legs almost gave out. Talon caught her before she hit the ground. "You should not have done that," he said, though his voice was soft and full of awe. "You were going to fall," Mila whispered. "I couldn't let that happen." Talon looked at her as if she was something he had waited for his entire life. Something impossible. Something powerful. Mila felt her breath catch. She didn't know what she was becoming, but she could see it in his eyes. Whatever she was no longer just human. Behind them, smoke curled up into the night sky, and the ruins glowed from the recent battle. The enemy would return. But now they knew the truth. Mila was not someone they could erase. And Talon was not someone they could defeat. Together, they had become something the galaxy had never seen. The smoke from the last battle still drifted across the broken valley when Mila opened her eyes. She was lying against a fallen stone arch, her strength slowly returning. Talon sat beside her, wings folded close, his scales dim but steady. He was watching the horizon like he expected the world to change at any moment. And maybe it would. Mila felt different. Not just tired, changed. Like something inside her had awakened and was waiting to see what she would choose next. She sat up slowly and Talon helped her. "They will come again," Talon said. His voice was calm, but Mila could hear the warning under it. "The council will not accept what happened yesterday." Mila looked over the ruins, remembering the light that had burst from her hands. She still didn't understand it. It felt familiar and strange at the same time, like a forgotten memory that had suddenly returned. "Do you think I'm dangerous?" she asked. Talon shook his head at once. "I think you are hope." She wasn't sure she deserved a word like that, but she didn't argue. Instead she looked at the sky. The morning sun was rising, turning the clouds gold. For the first time the world didn't look like a trap. It looked like a beginning. Before they could speak again, A soft humming sound moved through the air. Talon jumped to his feet, wings spreading in warning. Mila stood beside him. A shuttle was approaching, but it was not a council warship. It was old, scratched, and moving slowly like it didn't want to cause fear. It landed on the broken ground and a small group stepped out, 3 humans and 2 dragons. Their eyes were hopeful, not hostile. One of the humans approached carefully. Her name tag read Commander Risa. "We saw the battle from the outpost," Risa said. "We saw what you did." The whole valley lit up. Mila felt her stomach twist. "I didn't mean to harm anyone." "You saved lives," Risa said. "And you showed the galaxy that the council is lying." She glanced at Talon, her eyes softening. "Both of you did." Talon lowered his wings, though he stayed alert. "Why are you here?" "Because change is coming," Risa said. "And we want to help you shape it." The dragons behind her stepped forward. They were smaller than Talon, thinner, with softer colors. One of them bowed deeply. "We felt your power," he said. "It is ancient. It is rare. And it does not belong to the council." Mila didn't understand, but she listened. The dragon continued. "You are something born from both worlds. A bridge. A voice. If you stand with us, humans and dragons can rise together." Talon looked at Mila, waiting for her answer. He would follow her choice, she knew that now. Not because she was strong, but because she had given him something he never expected: trust. Mila took a breath. "If I join you, what happens?" Risa smiled gently. "We build a new alliance. We end the fear between humans and dragons. We stop the council's control. And we protect those who are hunted like you." Mila felt the truth in her words. The galaxy was tired of fear. Wanted something new. She looked at Talon and he nodded once. "You do not have to do this alone," he said. For the first time she believed it. Before she could speak, a loud rumble shook the ground. Everyone turned toward the cliffs. A huge council carrier was rising into view, its metal sides glowing with warning lights. Dozens of fighters swarmed around it. "They came faster than we thought," Risa muttered. Mila felt that rising warmth again, the power inside her waking up. She stepped forward, her pulse matching the vibration in the air. "They won't stop," she whispered. "Not unless we stop them first." Talon stepped beside her, wings opening slowly like a shield. Risa raised her communicator. "Outpost 7, prepare for battle." Dragons took to the air. Humans armed their weapons. The ground hummed with energy. Mila stood still for a moment, letting the wind touch her face. She no longer felt fear. She felt purpose. The carrier fired its first shot, a burning stream aimed directly at the ruins. Mila raised her hand. Light burst from her palm, forming a barrier far stronger than before. The blast crashed against it, sending sparks flying into the sky. Everyone stared in shock. "Mila," Talon breathed. "You're growing stronger." She didn't answer. She pushed the barrier forward, dividing the air like a blade. The energy moved across the battlefield, forcing the fighters to scatter. The carrier shuddered under the pressure. Dragons dove in, lightning trailing from their claws. Human fighters followed close behind, engines blazing as they joined the attack. The sky turned bright with battle. Talon leaped forward, rising into the air like a storm. He struck the nearest fighter, tearing its wing off with one swipe. The explosion lit up the clouds behind him. Mila took a step forward, then another. Every movement pulled more energy out of her, but she didn't stop. She pushed her power outward again. The ground glowed and the air trembled. The carrier's shields broke. A final beam of light shot from Mila's hands, clean and bright. It struck the carrier, splitting its hull. The ship turned sideways, alarms echoing through the air, and crashed into the mountainside with a long, cracking roar. Silence fell. The humans and dragons stared at Mila, their eyes wide with awe and fear. Not fear of her, but fear of how much the galaxy was about to change. Talon landed beside her and placed a clawed hand gently on her shoulder. "This is the beginning," he said softly. "Your destiny. And mine." Mila looked at the sky, where smoke slowly drifted away, revealing the bright blue above. 2 worlds had been enemies for generations. But now, because of her and Talon, they had a chance at a future together. A new destiny had begun.